Good morning, afternoon and evening all, this is Yorkie, I hope you're doing well. Today we have a 25% race distance race at Hungary, just following up from the weekend, the Hungarian Grand Prix that we had, that Lewis Hamilton had won. Sorry if I just spoiled that for you and you hadn't already seen it. But yep, this was before the weekend actually, and we did do a qualifying session before this. I did manage to stick it on pole, however, just like Hamilton, someone managed to pit me at the very last second to snatch pole away from me, and I'm starting in second. So, quick race strategy adjustment, sorry. Just moving the pit stop a lap forward, so I run slightly longer on the softer tyres. The car's already set up and we're all ready to go, so we're going to cut straight to the track. So, like I said, starting in P2, I'm in my Williams. I'm on the dirty side of the track, as it were. And there's quite a few guys in this grid, there's 13 of us. I'm just checking that everything is all good, making sure I've got plenty of fuel in the car. So, 5 lights, there's the 5th, and we away. I get an okay launch, but it's not great, but I get decent shift up into second gear and using a bit of the curves, which has managed to slip me alongside the Red Bull of Hamalo here. And I'm down on the inside into turn 1. Someone coming around the outside of me there, but he's gone a little bit too deep, so I've taken first place within the first corner and already starting to build out a little bit of a gap. So it's just a case of being smooth. I want to try and keep building that gap if possible. Get a good run out turn 3. You can see the gap there already starting to form. It's almost a second already as I go a little bit deep in the turn 4 there, the very fast left-hander. So just taking it nice and steady through the chicane, trying to be nice and smooth as possible. Now, gap has gone up to a second, so not doing too badly. Like I said, just trying to be nice and smooth, trying to build this gap to the people behind me, ready for when we get DRS. I want to be out of that 1 second window. Good run out the last corner to start finish straight, using up the rest of the curves. The gap has actually gone down a little bit by a couple of attempts. Hamalo's closed the gap, and of course, as you guessed probably from the title, Hamalo is the main feature of this race, and you'll certainly see why in a couple of laps time, sorry. So, turn 2, relatively difficult. It drops away mid-corner, and that tends to send the car to understeer out wide, away from the apex. But managing to hold it in there, and again, Hamalo has reduced that gap down to half a second. And obviously setting purple first sector, as no one has set a legitimate timer, as I get quite a big moment through the first part of that chicane. Took a little bit too much curve that unsettled the car. So Hamalo ran over so slightly wide there. So I can feel the pressure. I know he's there right behind me, I can hear him in the background, and obviously constantly looking behind, constantly confirms that he's there. So I can feel the pressure that he's there. He's trying to get that DRS, which he won't have on this lap as it's only just being activated. But if he can maintain this very short gap, he can certainly have a very good go into turn 1. So I managed to pull out a tenth or 2, but obviously he would have been gaining in the slipstream down that start finish straight. He's going to set the fastest lap. It's 4 tenths quicker than my second lap there. So once again, it's trying to focus, trying to be smooth. You can see he's at a mistake somewhere. I've managed to pull out a 4/10 gap in that first sector. the chicane much better that time. So coming through sector 2. It's long left, then right, then another left and another right, but these two are much quicker. Extra downshift there, trying to get the car to turn and get into pulled in towards the apex, and I managed to get that 1 second gap now. So come now into the penultimate corner. Right there is the DRS detection point, and right there is the activation point. So getting a relatively decent run out that last corner, setting the fastest lap, and yeah, gone and pulled probably about a second throughout the duration of that lap. Got him up to 1.3, like 1.4 seconds behind. It's just being very nice and smooth all through that lap. Once again, getting turn 2 hooked up very nicely. So a good run through turn 3. Turn 4 is always difficult. It's quite hard to actually judge where to actually turn in and really clip the apex without cutting the corner or running too wide. And another little moment through that chicane there. Just trying to be nice and smooth all through this section here. The inside wheel onto that grass there, which isn't going to hurt me too much, as this next corner is a right-hander, so there isn't much load going through that tyre. And by the time we get to this left-hander, the dirt is pretty much all gone. So just trying to settle down into a nice smooth rhythm. Still maintaining that gap. I've only pulled out 1/10 though in that last lap. I hit the braking point at the 100 metre board. Smooth run in and out of turn 1. It's quite an unpredictable corner, turn 1. Sometimes it goes very well for you and you hook it up very nicely, but other times you go in, the rear end is trying to break loose and locking ever so slightly, and you tend to find that you kind of slide your way through it. But I managed to do it pretty much perfectly there, just shy of the apex of course. A little bit tentative through that chicane, taking a little bit too much curb. Let's pick up those 2 corners quite nicely, but it sounds like Hamalo is a lot closer than before. And that confirms that he's managed to get himself down within the 1 second. So if you can maintain that gap, he's going to have DRS on me on this straight that's just coming up now. So I'm very wide through that corner. You can actually tell I'm starting to get a little bit ragged, starting to feel that pressure as he's right behind me again and running out wider than necessary. And yeah, he's got DRS. So watching him. He moves to the right. I'm going to move to the right with him, just to kind of squeeze him over there, make the corner tighter than it normally is. Just kind of going for the undercut, but it doesn't quite work. But using the curves to get a good run out, he goes to the outside, so I'm going for the inside. I'm going to dive down the inside here in turn 2, make it stick quite nicely. It's literally right underneath my rear wing. Probably couldn't get much closer than that. Coming out to turn 4 now, very fast. A little bit of understeer mid corner. Doesn't want to grip. So still literally right behind me, you can see the proximity arrows there at the bottom of the screen, constantly showing up 2-3 arrows. Show that it's very close, almost a little bit of oversteer through that right hander, but managed to catch it. Much smoother run through those 2 corners. See, 6 times down. Good smooth run through that corner as well. Just trying to be really smooth, trying to get the best acceleration out of corners as possible. It looks like he's dropped off a little bit there. So that's the activation point. He's probably going to have DRS on this lap as well. Yeah, he's within that 1 second window, even though he's dropped off. We just lapped someone there as well with him in the pits. He's closing quite drastically. He's going for quite an ambitious move down the inside. I see him coming and give it a little bit of room. Kind of trying to squeeze him to the outside a little bit. There's very minimal contact there. And I've got the inside line for this turn 2. And just be hesitant on the throttle on the exit. Trying to make sure he doesn't get that undercut. Didn't quite read that. That was a very, very small tap from behind, but nothing major. So it's all good. He gets extremely close through that turn 4. Left-hand there again, extremely close through here as I run quite wide from the apex. It's all over the back of me at the moment. There's a big moment coming out of that chicane there. Managed to catch that. It's right behind me again. He's looking all over the place, but I'm keeping it bang on the racing line. It's just kind of stopping him from making any sort of move, as those sequence of corners are extremely difficult to pass unless you can literally get your wheels up alongside the other person. So once again, he's going to have DRS here. I'm going to have to go relatively defensive, so try and take a slower entry to the corner, throw him off a little bit and try and open up that exit, try and carry as much speed through that as possible to give me as much speed down here, try and counter his DRS, and I'm going to move over to the right again with him just to make that corner tight for him. He's got the inside line. Once again, I wanted to go for the undercut, so I'm going to try and replicate what happened last time, but that's not quite working. There he goes and defends the inside line, but he's going a little bit deep. I'm having a quick look up the inside there, but not quite. Did want to go for the undercut through turn 3, but once again, he's got the speed as well, so closing on him into turn 4. Here he goes much quicker through that corner than I did, but he did run out wide. So now it's just a case of trying to be patient, trying to stick with him. I want to get that DRS on that start finish straight, kind of following his line here, and it's costing me ever so slightly through that chicane. Wasn't quite as comfortable or smooth over that large sausage curb as he was. And we've actually got a back marker up ahead. It's pulled out a little bit of a gap. He's 7/10 up ahead. He's gone deep, and he's a lot of oversteer through that corner. He's managed to keep hold of it, but this has given me a perfect opportunity to close right up onto the back of him. So trying to get that good smooth, trying to straighten out that car, get the DRS open as smooth as possible, and it looks like this back marker could play into my hands into turn 1. Closing on him quickly, I'm actually going to have to go for the outside. Back marker fortunately gets right out the way. Try and go around the outside of it, it actually forces me off the track there, but I managed to stick into it. Just behind him, I've got the inside line here, just behind. He runs a little bit deep, as did I. But he's holding in on the outside, he's on the inside for this corner, and I just completely run out of room there. Ended up going off the track, just like Hamilton did to Mark Webber. So now it's a case of settling in behind him and once again trying to get DRS again on the next lap if possible. Although for those you keen-eyed and remember from the start of the race, my strategy was to pit on lap 9. It is currently lap 9, so I'll be pitting this lap. Don't know if he is or not. I'm guessing he will be. And it looks like I've got a good run into here. I take him up the inside, just through this corner. Nice and smooth. He hands me the position. So if we're both pitting at the same time, I'll be ahead. I'm actually going to dive into the pits here, switch to lean mixture, but he doesn't come in, which is quite interesting. So just me on the pit stop. He's going off for another lap or so, which gives him plenty of free air. Let's see if we can perform this undercut and get a very good stop. 2.8. A brand new set of boots. So switching the fuel mixture back up into standard, just trying to save a little bit of fuel through that pit stop. And we're going to keep that tyre temperature monitor up, just so we know when to really go maximum attack. So obviously going full attack on cold tyres, wear the tyres out a little bit more by sliding. It is a lot easier to slide, so we'll wait until they are properly warmed up before we really start to attack. But obviously you got to try and get them warmed up as possible, as quick as possible. And the best way to do that is actually to attack. So it's kind of pushing, I would have said about 80% right now. Just waiting until these tyres get up to temperature, get nice and grippy. You can see them there, starting to fade into the green. Just a couple more corners and they'll probably be where I need them to be. I ran very, very deep into that corner there, just about managing to get away with it. It usually only takes about a lap to get the tyres warmed up, so from here that we really start to attack now. And Hamalo's actually gone round again. He's not pitted, as you see. He's just gone on set the new fastest lap, 1:21. So it gives me a little bit more time on the softer tyre whilst he's on very worn medium tyres to catch him up. This should work quite nicely into my advantage, using the richer fuel mixture there. However, we do have a slower car a lap down up ahead. Hopefully he'll move out the way for us. As you can see, Hamalo there is 17.5 seconds up the road from me. Looks like he's just gone through the third to last corner, coming into the second to last corner now, judging by that mini-map. Just trying to be fast, trying to be smooth. Looks like I've gained about half a second on them there, and that HRT with the Lamborghini skin has gone straight on, which is quite an interesting way of moving out the way, if I'm honest. And Hamalo's lost connection, and yeah, massive lag on the HRT. Suddenly appeared right in front of me, but this does give me a DRS, so that's kind of worked to my advantage. And I'm guessing Hamalo was going into his pit stop and he dropped connection, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have continued that battle with him throughout the race. It would have been interesting to see where he would have come out in relation to me, whether I would have been able to catch him up if he was ahead, or if he was behind, whether he would be able to catch up to me and continue the battle that we had throughout the rest of the race. So tyres are nicely up to temperature. I'm running the higher fuel mixture, and we are setting very quick sector lap times. Just gone purple for the first sector. I'll probably end up going purple again through this sector, getting a very nice run out of that corner. Didn't quite hook up the apex, but still decent run, and coming out of there as well. You can see I decided to play around with the cockpit view a little bit, just to see what it's like. I haven't really used it since the very start. I used to use the cockpit cam back in 2011, but with my hardware not being so great and me struggling with the higher end graphics and stable frame rates, obviously I have to drop the reflections, which means the wing mirrors barely even work. As you can see, there's very little detail in them at all. So there we are, setting the new fastest lap of the race. A very nice 1:21.7. And yeah, well, I'm 21 seconds up ahead, second place, and it looks like I'm all set to finish in first.
Okay, back to the pits, we've lost the front wing.
Yeah. So the rest of that race was just basically me just driving around, setting relatively decent lap times. It's now second to last lap, and we're into the final sector, and I have gone and lost the car and smashed it into the wall, losing my front wing. Second place is only 9 seconds behind, which is not good. That does not give me enough time to do a pit stop, get a new front wing on, get a new set of tyres to try and catch up, especially on the last lap. So my only option is to go around again and hope that I can keep it on the track and stay out of trouble So braking very early, shifting the brake bias to the rear, putting our fuel mixture up to rich to try and gain whatever speed we can. It's just a case of braking lightly, braking early, and just trying to be very, very smooth. But I got to unlock the front wheel ever so slightly there, it sent me straight on, but I managed to bring it back in without losing too much time now. There's so much downforce has been lost just by losing that front wing, so you have to take so many of these corners so much slower than they would usually. Running right out wide there again. Second place is now only 4.6 seconds to go. 4.6 seconds behind us, sorry. We've got probably about half a lap to go. Going to take it very, very smooth through this second sector, and it looks like this Force India isn't trying to overtake me. I think he may have seen what's actually happening here, and I don't know if he's actually trying to work this in my favour or not, but he suddenly seems to have dropped off. Now it's just trying to keep it on the track again, struggling with all that understeer. Now second place is only a second behind coming into this final sector, and coming out this corner, take a look behind, he's right there. I'm going to have to go defensive on the inside. He tries to go around the outside, but looks like he's gone a little bit too deep there. He's backed off a little bit. That's just a case of trying to keep it on the road through this final corner. Trying to get a good exit. Yeah, it looks like he's pushing real hard, going way out wide there, and just about managing to hold on to first place. So very, very lucky to get away with that. But
What a win.
oh, that was an interesting race nonetheless. So that's the final result. Second place only finishing half a second, having gained probably 21.5 seconds in the last couple of laps due to my lack of concentration and a silly mistake. So that is the conclusion of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and of course don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more F1 content in the future. I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.